At DadCast254, we firmly believe that every day is Father's Day. It thus goes without saying, promoting and supporting fatherhood is important for the well-being of families and society as a whole. Welcome to DadCast254, a podcast sharing personal dad life stories, joys and challenges of being a dad. On today's episode, we have Dr. Churchill Saoke with a PhD in physics and double MSc. He is a researcher, a university lecturer, and most importantly, a dad to 3 boys. Tune in as he shares his experiences as a son and now a dad. Stay tuned. Karibu Daktari. Welcome to DadCast254, Dr. Churchill Saoke. Can you briefly introduce yourself? Tell us who you are, the nature of your job, and a brief history of how you're brought up, the nature of the environment as a kid, how our fathers, how did they carry themselves, and how did their fathers, if you happen to have experienced life with your grandparents or grandfather, how did he carry himself as a father to your father now, and how did your father manage to raise the family, and what are some of the amazing or beautiful things that you can remember from that? Yeah.
Thanks. I think it's a good opportunity to be in this great show. It's great to talk about fatherhood. My name is Churchill. I'm a researcher by profession, and I try to dig deep to get truths about life. Yeah, and it's amazing when you talk about fatherhood, because this is one thing that has been my life has been inspired by my father in many ways, and I'm privileged to have been brought up by what a person I would call a father who was very present, and he really took care of us. He believed in us. He believed in education. And at some point, I have been saying that the life I live today is the life my dad would have wished that I did live, because he really valued education, and he spent quite a good amount of money to make us educated as his children, in spite of the fact that himself did not go to school. So he also has taught me many things about being a father and how best to become one in our present generation. Of course, he was a very strong-willed person. He was a person who had a very strong character. He believed in leading by doing it, and ensuring that whatever you're given to do it with your hands, all right? And he enforced it. He was very he enforced it, not with pampering you. He couldn't pamper. He didn't pamper us. Yeah. But he was very harsh. But his harshness is what has made us be today. Yeah. In terms of my grandparents, not that much.
There's a point you are trying to explain on how he was strict in handling, and how much he valued education, and how that translated to you being who you are today.
Yeah, exactly. The way in which he did his things, and he does his things even today, is one that is informed by not just strictness, but also how he was brought up as a person. Remember, he's pretty old now, almost 30 years, and when he was young, he lived in the days during the colonial period. So in those days, everything was by order. So even today, he's a man who believes in giving orders, and they got to be followed. And so we have had to live with situations where he gives commands, and your role is to follow it. Sometimes some of those commands used to appear like they're very harsh, But later on, as we grew up and as we also got to become dads, we then realized that, oh my goodness, my dad really meant well to us. So it's been good transitions, and some of the things that we saw him doing today now, even as in our portfolio as dad, we now see them very significant in our age. And just even practicing them to become although some of them you find they become a little bit difficult with this kind of generation where children wants to be pampered, they want to feel you want to feel you want to
emotional connection.
Exactly, those are not things that they were used to. So it's probably the challenge that we have now, and we got to see how do we balance both the two, so that you don't lose the children, but also you don't lose them from giving them too much compassion and love, and at the same time you also don't lose them through deterrence by them feeling that you are there and they are here.
You see, you are talking about balancing how you discipline or how you relate with the children, such that you don't over feel attached, and also you don't become too strong, so that they cannot share or maybe what challenges they are going through in life. And it's amazing that how what your father valued so much has made you become who you are today. And the way you talk about your father, and you talk about how you used to view his way of fathering, and how he was strict with you guys. You thought maybe this guy is not our friend.
Yeah, exactly. You used to think like, this is
he's an enemy.
This is a person when you see you got to run away, and he's but he meant well for us. Some of them see one of the things that I usually say is that we have to put ourselves in the shoes of our parents, or the shoes of people who parent us. And when you find a parent is very strict or is keen on you not doing something, one of the things you need to ask yourself is, what is his fear? Because there has to be something she is trying to protect you from, that you might be in control of in terms of your understanding of that, but from where she is coming from, he thinks that you're vulnerable. Because you see, to a parent, you'll always be a child forever and ever. So unless you come to a point where you understand their fears, you see where they're coming from, and allay those fears, you'll always feel that they're pushing you too much. And they don't understand you. And I think that is one of the biggest conflicts that arise with young people today. You sit down. One of my best moments is when you just sit down with some of these old guys and listen to how they are talking, and how they perceive life. Then you realize that if you allow yourself to be in a position where you want to listen to what they say and understand where they're coming from, and customize their fears and customize what their advice they're giving you to your present context, then you will gain so much than just deterring and telling that, what, you guys lived in the ancient ages, you don't know the millennials, we are millennials, you don't
kuna wengine siku hizo wanaitwa Gen Z.
I know, Generation Z. So
DadCast254, guiding you through this amazing journey of modern fatherhood. Keeping tabs with DadCast254. I'm your host, Stephen Paul Owino. See you next time.